Coming out onto the Novice arena at the Australian Supreme Novice Championship here in Geelong is Ginyen O'Leary with Elliott's Ruby, a young border collie. He's 2.5 years old. Looks like a nice calm entry to the arena. Just meeting there with the judge. Ginyen's got Ruby sitting down in her start position as she makes her way up to the casting peg. Ruby's keen, she's got her ears up, she's looking up towards the let out area, watching Ginyen. Ginyen's just holding her there, just so she doesn't kick off too early, waiting for the judge to signal when to start their run as the sheep are let out. Ginyen's just checking the positions. And she's just made the signal there for Ruby to cast out around the arena there. And that's nice and wide and deep. And it looks like Ruby's cast nicely up to the top of the arena. And just set herself down there and not bump the sheep at all. So that was a very beautiful cast. It's exactly what the handlers want. They want the dog to come up to the back of the sheep and just sit down there. Just hold the sheep and now want to lift them towards the handler just like that. Bit of a bump there. Made the sheep run. But that's all going well there for Ginyen and Ruby. She'll just want to get them back onto that straight line, bringing them straight down to her. Not let them wander too wide. She does want to bring them down on this left-hand side so they can wind around her left-hand side and make their way up to the gap. And so Ginyen's just keeping this under control with Ruby, just giving her subtle signals there. You can see her hand movement with her stick just to give Ruby a subtle movement. Just using a hand signal and some whistle commands. Not picked up on the audio here, but she's just using whistle commands just to hold Ruby on a stop and then give her a hand signal with the stick to move her on. So they're just keeping everything settled here. It's a short cast, so haven't had a lot of time for the dog and sheep to get to know each other. She's just letting the sheep settle down. You can see that they've just dropped their head, calmly eating there, and Ruby's movement has just bumped them along. So it'll just be a matter of just shifting them back across to the winding peg, but making sure they wind around this bottom side. See the judge, Bill Davidson, just walking through there. He thinks they've got them under control, so he's making his way to the buggy, and so that he can follow them up to the gap. And they're coming around here, just gone out of shot, just adjusting there the camera work to capture them. And you see Ruby's there, just got in front of them. Ginyen's made her way off to the gap. They've just gone off course there, so they've just sort of wound back around and wanted to head back up to the let-out area. So Ginyen will want Ruby just to put pressure on them on that top side and bring them back into the corridor just like this. And just make sure that they don't run off too far. She's aiming to keep them within the corridor that's marked out in the markers there heading up to the gap and within a 9-metre distance to her. So she'll just be getting Ruby to come around and hold them. Now bring them back into the corridor as she makes her way up to the set point at the gap. She's just looking over her shoulder there. Just get the camera to come back out a little bit, that's nice. And she'll want to get Ruby around, so Ruby was just caught a bit out there, a bit behind the sheep, and the sheep have gone past the obstacle. So that'll be some points deducted there for Ginyen and Ruby. The sheep going past the obstacle, not through the obstacle when the handle is in the set point. Jinyan's right at the set point now, so she has to stay in there and work with Ruby to navigate the sheep through the obstacle. She'll be wanting to bring them around to this near side so that they can walk through while Jinyan's there at that set point. So Jinyan's just letting them walk a little bit around her, just giving them some distance. And again, just getting Ruby to move and nudge them along, allow the sheep to walk. You can see Ruby's pretty strong getting to their head, and as soon as she does that, they stop. So Jinyan will want to just get them on the shoulder to turn their heads back towards the gap, just like that. So that little movement by Ruby just on the shoulder there, just turn the sheep's heads back towards the gap. And you can see Ruby's very quick, and as soon as she gets up into that eye line of the sheep at their head, she stops them pretty quickly. So Jinyan's just held her and allowed the sheep to walk through, and now send her out on that top side to catch them. She's come in tight there, just spooked them a little bit, but she's got the pace to catch and hold them. Looks like Jinyan's just waiting for it to settle before she walks off. Here she goes. And she'll make her way across to the race. There's not much room on that top side of that corridor, so it's a matter of keeping them in the corridor and allowing the dog to get enough distance. And you can see how easily the sheep move when Ruby comes in and puts some pressure on them. Let's get the camera to pan around and catch up with the activity. Here we go, Ruby's again just blocking them off, and Jinyan's doesn't look like she's happy there with Ruby, so she just told her to push out. She wants to get some more distance on these sheep. With Ruby up close to the sheep is putting a lot of pressure on the sheep, and the sheep are tending to jump, so it looked like Jinyan just wanted to push Ruby out the back there. And she's just sat Ruby down a little bit too long, and the sheep have just snuck around the outside of that obstacle. So again, as they go past the obstacle, the judge will deduct points. Jinyan's just getting Ruby to move around, trying to push them around. And she's just worked them around the obstacle there. She'll get Ruby to try and head them off here. That's nice. So she's just blocked them there. Now it's time to calm them all down. You can see how those sheep are a little bit jumpy as they came across there with Ruby right up tight. This is now just a game of moving to the right points, keeping the right pressure on, not letting the sheep find an escape route. Jinyan's just trying to push Ruby out, give them the distance, but a bit too much. And they've gone around the back again. So they've seen that escape route. Jinyan was just trying to take the pressure off them to allow them to walk through, but it was a little bit too much, and the sheep have just found that escape route out there. So I'll have to try again. Bring them back out, reset. Now it looks like Ruby's at a better distance. So at this distance she can move and just put a little bit of pressure on to walk the sheep forward, which she's done there. So all she has to do is just hop up, and she's got that quick pace in those first few steps, so she gets tied up on the sheep very quickly. Jinyan will be watching that. She knows that pressure will make the sheep jump, so she's just trying to get them lined up, so if they do jump, they jump through the obstacle. It's a real tense time here at the front of the obstacle as they try and work these sheep in. So Jinyan's just trying to line them up there to get Ruby to line them up, and she's just pulled Ruby out to the side because she saw the sheep running there down this near side, and Ruby has to get back there and cover them again. This time she's got a bit more distance, so she's not spooking them. They'll try it again here. Again, just trying to line them up with the mouth of that race. Just so that if she does put the pressure on them, they move forward through the race and don't have that escape route out the outside. Let's see what happens here. Just a little nudge. See a little nudge by Ruby, and they've moved through, or they've just pushed around the outside. So just didn't have enough Just didn't have them lined up enough there to push them through, but here they go. They're going through. That's good. There was a little bit of pressure, but they're off. And they've just gone around, and just out of shot, but the sheep split, and Ruby's, they've just cut in under Ruby, and that's a cross. So Ginny will be disappointed with that cross, but that's the end of their run.